Hi everyone, I'm Krati. How are you all doing tonight?
Awesome. Thanks. I think folks can hear us well. So, guys, we'll just wait for another 2 minutes and we'll get started. Thank you so much. We'll just wait for another 2 minutes to give you guys a quick agenda. We'll just do a quick introduction into the community, into Krati's profile, hand it over to her. She has a nice little deck for you all on her journey and some interesting resources, some interesting case studies, some interesting journey about product design. And then we move on to the meat of the section where we go dig deeper into how she got into product design, any resources, breaking into product design. So hope you guys enjoy it. We'll just wait for another minute or so and get started on this journey. Yeah, I think we're good to go. So thank you once again, everyone, for joining us, and thanks, Krati, for joining us tonight. Um, to get started with a brief agenda into a brief introduction into the community. The Product Folks is a volunteer-driven community of product managers, product marketers, product designers. Um, we're all helping each other, sharing resources, and helping each other grow in this space. It is predominantly offline, and over the last 3 months, we've done a bunch of interesting events online. So you guys can probably follow us on Twitter or LinkedIn to know more. We have a bunch of interesting resources. Learn PM with me, which is essentially for product managers, but we're adding product design resources to that as well. We have Insurger Club, which is an APM program, and yeah, I would love to see if any of you guys are interested. Feel free to jump in. Um, Handing it over to Krati, I think she has a nice little deck to on her introduction. So I don't want to spoil that surprise. But Krati, over to you, and would love to hear more about your journey. I'll catch you back in the Q&A section right after.
Okay. Hello. Thank you everyone. Thank you so much. I'll just share my screen.
Sure thing.
Give
Yeah.
me a second. Yeah. So I'm Krati Gupta and I really love dogs, a lot of dogs. And I also do product design, by the way. So let's just get into that. So today I'll be talking about how I got into product design, the role anatomy, workflow and collaboration that I learned on the industry and some learnings. So a brief intro about myself. I was a design student at NIFT and I started in 2015 to 19. And during my journey at NIFT, I got the opportunity to go to QUT in Australia for an exchange semester again to study communication design, which was a really nice experience because it was a completely different country and a completely different set of aesthetics altogether. Then I came back and I was looking for an internship, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to converge to product design yet. So I decided to go to an agency, a design agency, where I explored different kinds of design, like branding, like UI design, product photography, then social media campaigns. And while I loved and enjoyed all these, categories of designs, I really enjoyed doing UI design. And we worked on some UI projects. Again, like I really loved the UI design part of it, but then I started getting interested more in the UX part of it as well, and that's where I started reading about product design, product companies, and I think back in 2014, in India, a lot of startups were coming up, and the culture of design had started back then, and back then in when I was in NIFT, I was using a lot of apps, and that's where I started using the apps. I started interacting with the apps for each and everything. I was using an app, even for booking my laundry. I was using an app, and I think because my college was based out of Bangalore, it really exposed me to all the upcoming startups around my college. It was in HSR layout, so that's when I started identifying the joy that I was getting out of using these apps, and I started considering that maybe I should go to the other part of the spectrum and help deliver this joy. So then I did one internship in 2018, and after that internship I really enjoyed that internship, and I had decided and I made up my mind that I want to get into the product space and I want to develop product thinking, and get a job in a product based company, and that's when I started preparing for my other internship, my graduation project, and I worked on a lot of concept based projects, and I applied in a lot of product companies, and in the end I had shortlisted two companies. So back then when I was shortlisting these companies, I was staying in Bangalore inside a tech park, and I got into one company which was inside that tech park only. So I was really happy about it, that okay, I should just go there. And then the very next day I got a call from Hotstar that I got into it, and I was just perplexed that okay, what do I do about it, because this new internship opportunity was in Mumbai and I was in Bangalore, happily seeing the other company out of my window. So that's when I decided to get out of my comfort zone, and I saw this really huge opportunity with Hotstar, and I think that was the best decision in my 1.5 career time, and there is no looking back. I think the kind of exposure and learning that Hotstar has given me in this 1.5 years time, I can't imagine if I would have got the same by joining some other company. So I really appreciate that decision that I did. I don't know what happened to me, that I wanted to step out of my comfort zone, but yeah, there's no looking back after that. So yeah, like I said, my love for products started when I was in college, when I started using the app. So my love for products started as a user, because I started enjoying it. I started seeing the joy out of enjoying products. So yeah, and I'll tell you a fun fact about my journey. So when I was interning with McGarry Bowen India in 2018, it used to take me around 2 hours to reach office, and I used to watch Silicon Valley on on Hotstar in my cab every day, like while I used to go to office, while I used to come back, and I had no clue that 6 months down the line I'll work in the company on which I'm seeing Hotstar. So it's just a fun fact. So currently at Hotstar, I'm looking after the growth, retention, and payments charter from product design point of view. So on an everyday basis, I look at the user subscription lifecycle, which starts from the point the user downloads the app to the point the user subscription is ending, and all the touch points, in the middle of this and maybe beyond. And it comes it's about how the user, we are enticing the user to subscribe, and how the user is paying, and how the user is, if the user is trying to cancel, how are we understanding their reason to cancel, and all these touch points in the journey. So before we go to the role anatomy of product design, I just wanted to share, a painting that I really liked in college. So I was in an art college, so we studied a lot of art, and there was this particular painting that, I don't know, it just really drew my attention, and I really fell in love with the painting. What I liked about it was the emotion that it was giving. I really liked, that this man is so happy, like he's sitting on a boat, he's painting, he's around beauty, he's, this is based in Paris, so he's on a little boat, beautiful little boat, painting a beautiful little scene that's just outside the boat. And I really like the emotion that it associated a level of calmness and confidence, and I don't know, like serenity, and I just completely fell in love with it. So again, it's just a side note, we'll come back to it maybe later. So yeah, let's look at the product design role anatomy, at least what I understood about it, throughout my journey. So before I got into product design, I thought that, okay, it's about, cool UI, cool UX, cool illustrations. I'll get to solve like cool problems, cool software. So it's a really cool job. And then I got into the product space, and I realized that it's not just about design. It's not just about, cool illustrations, cool UX, but it was all about this thing and how to grow beyond that. Jokes apart, we'll just come back to it. So if we look at the role anatomy of a product designer, in my experience, I think that it's made up of just one element, and since it's the only element, it's the only moving element also, and that element is a hat, which we have to change every day, every hour, every second. At a very micro level, if you look at the hats that a product designer just juggles, is the head of a UI designer, a UX designer, a visual designer, motion designer, researcher. Like a product designer is a combination of all these things. Not to the fullest, but to some extent, yes. Yeah. And then at a macro level, it's all about understanding, the role of a PM, and what's going inside engineering's mind, and what the business is trying to do with your product, and what buzz is the business trying to create with the product. So why it helps us, because as product designers, it's our responsibility to make sure that our interface is manifesting what business and the product is trying to create a buzz around. And then beyond and within, there are some more hats that we need to just juggle upon every day, and that's an advocate. And we have to be an advocate to the user, we have to be a storyteller to the product, and we have to be a public speaker to the team. And I think out of all these, being a storyteller is really important. If you have worked on a project, and after you have advocated the user, after you have wore all these hats, either on a micro level or a macro level, you need to you need to just tell your story well. And with that comes public speaking. So that's one of the most difficult and one most scary hat, but if we take control of that, then it really helps us. So then I'll just go to the workflow and collaboration. So when it comes to workflow, it's about an IC, an individual contributor, and it's about me. And when I talk about collaboration, it's about the team. So the first gap that I identified, in me was articulation. And this is a really good example that I found on a book. I have attached it over here. It's called Articulating Design Decisions by Tom Griever. It's a really nice book. Just give it a read. And if you want, it helped me a lot, to identify some gaps in the way I was articulating my design decisions. And I hope that if it helps you guys too. So let's not do what these people are doing on the screen right now. And then after around 1 year, I identified some gaps in my process, and I jotted down some basic principles that I started believing in. And the first one was to be data driven. Like our design has to create impact, and I think product design does not make sense if it is not data driven, if it is not creating impact. So it has to be data driven, and the moment I started believing in it, I started incorporating it in my daily basis, in my process. And I started looking at data at each and every point of the process I was designing in. And after that, once you are data driven, data aware, then it helps you to identify gaps also fast. And after that comes designing with empathy. And because empathy is really important. Product design is a mixture, of all the things that we just looked at the previous slides. It's about what product wants, what business wants, how do we, make sure that the user experience is on point. So when it comes to all these things, I think what principle helps is to have empathy, and we'll get into the details of it later. And if we follow these, when I started following these three principles, then I realized that impact is following, so this really helped me. So now that I said that, I really believe in designing with empathy. It's not just about empathy with the users. I mean, it's really important, and I think that users are the most important, level in this I mean, they are on the top of this hierarchy, and definitely we should empathize with the users. But slowly I started empathizing with the product, with the business, and every team associated with developing this product. And then I realized that, okay, this is the way to go about it. I started getting this comfort level that, okay, if I have empathy for all these four levels, then I am able to collaborate with everyone and deliver impactful products. But why is this needed? So, product design is a very central, very pivotal role So as product designers, uh, we we connect business, we connect engineering, we connect product, and everyone associated with the product, and we are the ones responsible for manifesting the same on the interface. So it becomes really important for us to just inspire everyone to have empathy, and it would be really great if we can inspire, but at least we can practice. And I'm not sure if this is needed, but at least I felt that when I started doing it, it helped me, and I was happily working with my team. And then I worked on a lot of processes. Then recently I realized that okay, maybe I have like some level of understanding of how to approach product problem solving when it comes to product design point of view. So before, the process that I was following is this, that I used to look at the design brief, I used to design, and I used to give the zeppelin, and I used to be like, okay, I'm done. Then I started questioning this. I started uh, identifying gaps even here, that is this okay, is this making sense, is this enough? Then I realized that maybe it's not, and step by step I started questioning all these things and added more layers to my process. And right now the process that I'm following is identifying gaps, and there are multiple ways where we can which with which we can identify these gaps. It can be data, it can be user research, it can be Twitter, like anything, or like it can be just anything, even a WhatsApp message where someone is saying that I think that you guys should do this. I mean, some anything, it can be anything. And then iterating solutions basis that gap. So in my experience, what I realized was that when I'm iterating solutions, it really helped me when I iterated two solutions, which were poles apart. And the reason I'm saying it is because of the next step at the process. It's the user testing, and the prototyping step. So when I have two sets of prototypes in front of me, which are delivering designs which are poles apart, it really helped me to get a lot of insight with my user testing, because I understood that with this data, I am understanding that what do the users actually looking for. Maybe it's not X or Y, maybe it's somewhere in the middle. So with this very high data, it helped me to converge fast, and then I started believing in that, and I started practicing also. And after converging, then we test MVPs. And it would be really great if, as product designers, we can suggest multiple MVPs with least minimum effort, just to get like more insights, and then validate these MVPs with data, and then repeat. So you can just see the difference in the process. And I think I can just explain you like how I was working with these processes. So before, I was like this upon shipping a project. I was like, yeah, I'm done. But when I started questioning my process altogether, I became like this. Yeah. But it really helped me, and it is helping me to grow as a product designer. Then let's just talk about collaboration and handoffs. So this is when it comes to the team. So before, when I just started product design, I did not really understand handoff, and I did not understand the importance of handoff, and this was the way I was handing off my projects, a set of random screens. Then I realized that maybe this is not the best way to go about it. And the reason I realized is that my design process was all smooth, but then after that I was having like some kind of friction, where there was a there was some level of back and forth, which I was just, when I started thinking about it and I started reflecting on it, I realized that okay, maybe we don't have to solve this here, maybe we have to solve it before we are delivering the projects. So that's when I started just thinking about how can I solve this gap. And then I realized that, okay, rule one for me maybe is to try to not give a random set of screens. and maybe I have to explain what is the exact product that we are looking at from design point of view. Just like we have product requirement documents, I felt that there was a need to have, like, design specs in place. Again, like, it was a growing process, and it was working pretty well for all of us. Again, but I had these questions, and because I was having some more, I was identifying some more gaps that sometimes I'll just give you a very small example, that maybe the expectation is to open a keyboard by default on a screen, and it was not pointed out maybe earlier, and then in the end, these questions are coming up, that do we need to have open it by default. So then I realized that, okay, again, this is a gap that I need to fill in the beginning. So then this is what I'm following right now, and it's helping me a lot, and it's helping me collaborate with my entire team, front end or back end. Then I have the entire picture of the product in front of me with call outs that, okay, this is the expectation over here, and what do you think about it? Ask them also. And the delta that you're seeing in this screen, I'll tell you about it. So in the first one, um, I have experienced times where, with the first approach, we closed API contracts where we did not have, the right set of relevant information in the call, and we had to change the design on the go. Then I realized, okay, no, maybe we need to just talk to everyone, to back end, to front end, and explain them this entire flow, this entire the expectation from the product. And it did help me, it did help, not just me, my team, like all of us, because from the beginning of product development, we had a clear picture in front of us that, okay, these are the 5 things that we want to look at, and we should include that in our API contract. And I think with this, we identified and we closed the gap. Also, it helps us set an expectation from day one, everyone, because uh, product design involves a lot of people, and it's practically impossible for each and everyone to talk sometimes. So documentation helps, so it really helps if everyone is on the same page from day one. Also, with this, I realized that, okay, I'm getting some more zen time, and that's what we are looking for, right, at the end of the day. Yeah. So when I fixated on this process that I started working on, I also realized that while I practice this at an IC level, at an individual level, there is a need for involving my cross teams also in this process. And the most important part where it helped me to collaborate with my team, my cross teams, was the user testing and the converging part of it. So what we started doing was we started involving cross team members in our user test. So everyone was understanding the problems, everyone was seeing that how users actually interact with the products, and we believe that there is some kind of empathy that now we have more, than we had before. Like, not just about the product design team, like, as a entire product team, I'd say, because everyone is seeing how users, how humble our users are, how they interact with the screens, and sometimes we get very technical about the things which might not even grab the user's attention. So this is the point where I realized that, okay, it really helps to collaborate, because all of us are working towards the same product in the end. And some takeaways, to collaborate are to be clear. Like, I realize that maybe in my process, I have to be more clear with my design specs, with what our expectation is from the product, and get their insights as well, and get everyone involved, and getting everyone involved in all the parts of the process that we follow, be it user testing, be it converging, be it analyzing the data. Just when you get everyone involved. uh, when I say everyone involved, I'm not saying that each and everyone, maybe just a small set of people who work closely working on it, and all like the entire spectrum of the people, be it a designer, be it a developer, be it a product manager. If everyone are each and every one of us are together on a call and we discuss problems, we have our own insights, and it's a good brainstorming session also. And then one of the most important things that I realized when it came to collaboration was be approachable. Sometimes, communication is the key, and this shouldn't be taken for granted. And as product designers, we should be approachable because we are at the center of the spectrum. And definitely, be agile, be like, just be open to whatever is happening and adapt to it and adapt designs, and then I don't, and that's the way to go about it. Then some learnings. So as an intern, I realized that you have to keep your eyes and ears open all the time, in the sense that be aware of what's happening throughout the product. Look at, if you're working for a particular pod, don't just restrict yourself to that. Just keep an open lens to whatever is happening, like throughout the spectrum of the product, and talk to everyone in your team who's involved in the product, be it engineering, product, business, everyone who is involved, because it really helps before picking up a project. If you understand the spectrum of a project, it really helps. Yeah, so don't wait for a design brief. If you feel that there is some gap and you have identified one, don't wait for to be it on the sprint, because a lot of times in fast moving companies we work on sprints and we don't prioritize a lot of things. But as designers, we can be a little smart, and we can be a little proactive in this, and we can just make a list of some gaps that we have identified, and maybe we can come up with solutions that can be clubbed with the ongoing sprints. And so just don't wait for a design brief to come on your plate. And like I said, the most important one of the most important things that I understood from product design point of view was to understand the entire spectrum. So product design is not just about design; it is also about getting into the product thinking space and understanding how to make our product work better. So that just does not involve the UI or the UX. It involves a lot of things, like how the marketing is happening around it, how user research is happening. So it's just, it really helps to get a view of the entire spectrum of the product. And the most important thing as an entry level designer for me was to identify mentors. And when I say identify mentors, I'm not saying that maybe that we should go and ask them that, okay, can you mentor me, or we don't need to have one-on-ones with them, or we don't need, or they don't need to give us a certificate. Just the same way that we are identifying gaps in a problem statement, we can identify gaps in our process, in our growth plans, and then try to fill them. And sometimes the solutions are around us. For example, if for example I figure out that I need to work on my people management skills, and I see in front of me that, okay, this person is really good with people management skills. So maybe I'll just start observing on how that person is handling such situations, and try to grasp as much as I can, in the background, and then start cultivating it in my practice every day. Similarly, there can be a person who's really good in product thinking, and maybe that's the thing that I need to work on. So maybe I'll just start focusing on how that person is getting the roadmaps done, just to get down to how do I get inspired by this person and cultivate it in my growth plan. So while all of this is not important, but it helped me to understand and grow as a product designer and get into the space, right? And then, yeah, taking breaks, it's like really important for a product designer. So there have been days where I was in front of sketch for around like 7 8 hours back to back working because I was obsessed with a problem, and that was also a good day. But there are days now when I work on a problem, I take break, I come back and I look at the solution, and then I again design. So the difference here is that when I take breaks, I decouple myself from the UI and I go back and question the problem that I was trying to solve for. And personally, I think that it has helped me to, address problems better, because I was what happens is ki, just like users, just like we treat users, we are also users to the design artboards that we create, and if we stare at it for a very long time, we get blind to it. So it really helps to take a break and just come back and look at it with a fresh eye. It really helps. Yeah. So again, when I come to this painting again, I still look at it. So I think that I really like the emotion. I still like the emotion. And my question was, can I feel that emotion? So maybe I can. I think, I am doing the exact same thing that this person is doing. I am observing humans. I'm trying to paint a picture that I am, that depicts my understanding of their actions. And also it's all about wearing hats, right? So that's what about it. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Krati. I think that uh, deck was some. I mean, we clearly understood that you love dogs, and I love the storyline. You had a really nice mix about the thing that you're doing at Hotstar. You took us through various frameworks. I think we went into a lot more details than just breaking into
Yeah.
into product design. But yeah, thank you so much. We have a bunch of questions already coming up on. Slido. Can you share your slide? So I'll do one thing. I'll just start off with a bunch of questions that I think might be super interesting for folks looking to break in, and then pick up a couple of questions from Slido on how much time, depends on how much time we have. So to start with, yeah, I think you walked us through. I think one question that we also have it on Slido, so I'll start with that, is about the process of how do you go from the ideation phase, say, at Hotstar or in general, say you come up with an idea or you figure out a customer problem. How do you go from that stage to building out, say, an MVP or that feature request? How does that entire process look like for a product designer?
For a product design, so mm,
Like you mentioned brainstorming, you mentioned maybe working with different stakeholders. It can be engineering team, it can be product managers, for example, can be UX guys, it can be research guys, it can be data guys. So say you figured out a problem, a certain problem that a user is facing, or even earlier, like maybe it could be something really new. How do you guys go about brainstorming new ideas to coming up with say a screen or an MVP that you guys come up with?
So it really helps to have a goal in front of us. So
Okay.
once we have a goal that this is what we want to do, then we can break it down and then start iterating on it. And like
Hmm.
I said, it really helps to iterate in with a very high delta, with like come up with designs that are poles apart. And
Hmm.
if both of them, like let's say ki one design is X, one design is Y, and both of them are solving the same problem in a very drastic, in a very different way,
Yeah.
then user research helps here. And
Okay.
because no one knows anything, if we knew how things would work, we would build it on the very first day. And
Correct,
maybe,
correct. No, for
yeah,
sure.
then
Yeah.
this
No, could you give us an example with anything maybe that you worked in the last 1 year, anything that you've covered? That would probably help a lot of them understand a little more about product design, folks who are really new to this.
Sure. So I'll do one thing. So
Yeah.
what we did was ki,
Huh.
currently I'm looking at the growth charter from product design point of view at Hotstar. So
Hmm.
we had a problem statement where we were selling two plans on our platform in a very and the UX was such ki we were not showing both the plans at the same place at any time. So what was
Okay.
happening is ki, yeah. So what was happening is ki, and the thing was ki one plan is VIP and the other plan is premium. So VIP was a subset of premium. So what was happening is that some of the content was not available on VIP, it was only available on premium.
Mm-hmm.
But then users were going and buying VIP plan. So that was the problem, because
Interesting.
yeah, so that was the problem statement in front of us, and
Mm-hmm.
then we had this problem statement and we went about it and we explored a lot of designs how to make sure that the UX is right, how to make sure that our goal is met at the same time, it's fast. So we explored 2 3 directions, then we did some kind of some UT, some research, and
Mm-hmm.
we converged on that. We then we launched an MVP version of that and got
Mm-hmm.
insights. And like I said, key product design, is not a one day task, it's an
Yeah.
ongoing task. So
Yeah.
while we met our initial goal, then
Mm-hmm.
the goal changed to
As you
improving the
discover new
baseline.
thing.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Then
So how
the
long does this like you mentioned, right? Like you figured out this problem statement that was given to
Yes,
you to coming up with that first MVP to test. You had to do multiple things like you mentioned in between. How long
yes.
does that take approx?
It took around 1 month
Okay.
to just converge and have everything in place. It took
Mm-hmm.
around 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it was a huge project.
Mm-hmm. How many
So
of
that
you are on this team who were working on
uh,
say problem like this?
the product design. So there were two product managers, and I was the only product designer on it. And we
Okay.
had a huge engineering team supporting us.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting. Thanks for that insight.
And yeah, and
Yeah.
my design head was also mentoring us like throughout the journey.
Yeah, on how to do it. Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Awesome. Thanks so much. Um, do you have like a particular stack that they use, or does this generally come top down? Whatever the company is using, is that something that you guys end up using, or how does it work inside?
So it depends on the project also.
Okay.
So we have some, some projects that are not that big. There are some
Mm-hmm.
projects that are really big. So depending on the intensity of the project, we, have multiple ways to go about it,
Mm-hmm.
and multiple steps to involve in that. So it purely depends on the intensity of the project
Got it. So the
from
reason I'll give
product
you a
point
little.
of view. Yeah.
Got it. So the reason I asked you this is right now there are so many tools. For example, Figma, Sketch. There are so many Balsamiq IQ. There's so many wireframing tools out there. Is there a personal favorite that you have, or is that not too dependent? Like if you know one or two, you can always pick up the other one.
Yeah, I think when it comes to softwares, I think it is at the same time it is important and it's not that important. It's
Mm-hmm.
important in the sense that if you are in a company,
Hmm.
you when you have to collaborate with people who are using a software, then you have to get down to that software. But
Right.
at the same time, it's not a hard rule that you can't do this if you don't know the software, because when it comes to design softwares, all of them have very less delta. So
Yeah.
the learning, if you know one software, the learning curve for the other one becomes really small. So
Got
that's
it.
the way to go about it. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Thanks for sharing. I think that was a small bit. Jumping right into the meat, I think the entire breaking into product design part. I'm sure you'd get a lot of requests on LinkedIn asking you here, I want to break into product design. How did you do it? What do you do? So could you share with us any set of resources that maybe you already have a set that you already share? Or if someone was to ask you today, hey, I want to get into product design, what do I do? There are a lot of resources, a lot of YouTube channels, everything there, but what is something
Yeah.
that you'd share?
Yeah, so I think I'll share is at plus list is it's the new, and the it's a really good list. It's a really good platform where there are a lot of things. We have mentors, we have
Mhm.
portfolio review hours, we have job listings over there, and we have
Right.
recruiters over there. It's like a complete forum where you can just start your product design career. And it started
Awesome.
during COVID times, and because some people were unfortunately laid off, to support the entire design community, we wanted to give back to them. So
That's
I
amazing.
think that's one of the resources that is most useful and most
Amazing.
relevant in today's scenario.
Amazing. So that's even for beginners, right? Anyone who wants to break into product design, that's a great place to be, right?
Yeah, yeah, because
Right.
there are a lot of mentor resources as well.
Awesome. 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 Thanks so much for sharing that.
I'm
Jumping in,
also
I
currently
yeah.
mentoring at list. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. So guys, definitely do check out Krati's profile on the platform. And in case you guys are interested, definitely reach out to her. Uh, Krati, I'll pick up a couple of questions from Slido. I think these are a little more specific. The ones right on top is any suggestions to improve your product design skills. So, you have already transitioned to product design. What is it that Krati does on a day to day or a week to week basis whenever you get some time to stay upskilled? How do you
Yeah.
keep yourself learn? Yeah, how do you
I
learn on this?
think I think when it comes to product design, there are two aspects to it at a very high level. One is the design aspect to it, and one is the product aspect to it. So
Mm-hmm.
on a very everyday basis, what I believe in is to keep improving on the design aspect part of it, because that is something that you know already, and you can just keep growing like no matter what. So every day just consume a lot of things, just read about a lot of things, just iterate, explore a lot of designs, just to
Yeah.
get more ideas and more ideas to the solutions
Any
at this.
particular
Yeah.
any particular websites that you go to for inspiration?
Uh, I don't know, not really. So
Not really.
what I
Yeah.
believe in is to just observe what's happening in front of us.
Around here.
So
Right.
like product design is like human computer interaction design. So I think what I've started believing is to observe how people are observing with everyday things. So I just
Mm-hmm.
observe how my family is interacting with their dining table. So small things just fascinate me now, that sometimes I see that okay, my mom is picking up the thing that's just in front of her. She is not bothered about what's on the corner, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how it's the same psychology that sometimes we just bring to the product as well.
Got it. Got it. Fair
Yeah.
point. And is there anything like that you do hands-on? Like how much time, for example, do you put out? I'm pretty sure Hotstar is pretty hectic, but is it any like hands-on things? Are you working on, say, side projects? Are you working on anything else that probably you'd like to share about?
Not right now. I'm not working on any side project as of now.
Mm-hmm.
Not really getting time. Also, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to grow some skills. Also, yeah, that's
Right.
why. Also,
Right.
when it comes to product design, I think I like to read about product management also, because
Nice.
to that's the closest to get into product design
Mm-hmm.
space for
Mm-hmm.
it. So
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy reading about product management also as a skill.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, and
Nice.
I really enjoy collaborating with product managers as well.
Absolutely. I think I completely believe in that. I think there's a lot of overlap between what product designers do and product managers do. And the closer that this ecosystem can work together, I think we're going to have better products. There is
Yeah,
definitely a fine line. Yes, there are different tasks that a product manager does, different tasks that a product designer is in charge of. But the closer they can collaborate, I'm pretty sure we'll get better products out there.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah. Awesome. I think the questions are flowing in, but I'll just take probably two more. How do you define a minimum viable product? So what is that minimum thing that should go out? How do you define that? Or how do you say I'm satisfied with this design? Let's ship it.
I think the most important part of it is that there should be empathy. Like I said,
Uh,
it should have all the essential elements which would help us lead to our product goal.
mm-hmm,
And at the same time, it should we should if we have, since a lot of products have a lot of kinds of users,
mm-hmm.
we should have a middle ground which could serve all kinds of users, at least
Yep.
if
Yep.
it's an MVP product.
Got it. Got it. Interesting. Um, One last question. I think I know we're running out of time, but a lot of questions are around your interview experience at Hotstar. I know you joined as an intern, so it wasn't a conventional thing, but anything that you can share about the process, what kind of interview questions, how does one prepare for a product design interview at Hotstar?
So I joined Hotstar as an intern, and then I got converted to a full-time product designer. So my internship process started with one round with a senior product designer, and
Mm-hmm.
after that I had one more round with the product design lead, and both these rounds were about product design.
Yeah.
and after that I got my product design internship. But when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to hiring other people like non intern full time designers, we have 2 or 3 rounds of product design. Then we have rounds for product thinking as well.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Any particular interview question that you can share in these things, or is it written out there anywhere that we can probably refer to the folks here?
uh, Interview question, I think, when it comes to the design bit of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's one part I think it's
Or how
easy
does
for
one?
a product
I'll
designer.
I'll rephrase that. How does one prepare for a design interview at
Yeah.
Hotstar? Is there any tips and tricks?
So I think not just for Hotstar, it would be true for all the other product companies also. So it's easy for product designers to
Yeah.
articulate design,
Yeah.
but how to marry it to the product, to the product thinking to the business. I think that is one part. I believe that articulating that better, and just showing our projects and working on our projects that way, that it tells a story about how the product is going to work. Maybe we should
Right.
flip that equation. It is not just about the colors we use, not just about the UI or UX. It is about the story that the product wanted to tell.
Correct. No, I agree. I think I agree with that. Yeah, I think, Kadi, I think the questions are coming up, a lot more questions coming in. So, what would be the best way for folks to get in touch with you? I think a lot more are nuanced questions. Questions are around, what examples, any examples of design validation. There are questions around how do you, balance the act of. There are very like nuanced questions. So, what is the best way for folks to get in touch with you to, just chat?
Yeah, so I'm available on LinkedIn all the time, and
Awesome.
if there are entry level folks or folks looking to get into product design, I'm
Yeah.
also available on Atplist and
Awesome.
design.org as a mentor. So I'll be available over that there as well.
Awesome. 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 So I think with that, thank you so much, Karthi. I think this was very insightful, and I hope to keep following you and learn more about your journey. And once again, thank you everyone for joining us. You can definitely please give a shout out to Krati. She has a handle up here, and do let us know how. I mean, this is one of our first product design sessions, so thanks once again, Krati. But do let us know your feedback on how the session was and what you'd like to, like to see next, and we are happy to collaborate and get something there. Yeah, thanks so much, Krati, and
Thank you.
uh,
Thank you so much. Thank you,
see you. Have a nice
everyone.
weekend.
Have a great
Bye.
night. Bye.